So, in this episode, we're going to talk about how money does not follow time. It follows your energy. It flows with your energy. Welcome back to Unleashed Alchemy. This is the Money, Miracles, and Magic segment, where on Thursday, every Thursday, we talk about quantum money, your quantum money. We talk about examining those blind spots in your money where programming has caused you to look at money in a very limited way. All right. So let's just get into today's episode. So here is what happens. You have a linear blind spot when it comes to money. Okay. Again, we can apply this to everything. However, on Thursdays, this is dedicated to our focus on your money. All right. So let's get into a few things. Now, programming will tell you that there are only certain ways that you have to go through to obtain money. Programming will tell you that there are certain steps, step A, step B, step C, to get to more money. Okay. So let's talk about the examples. Some of those step A, B's, and C's include applying for a better paying job. Okay. Working more hours, going to college to get a degree, then going back to get another degree in hopes of your income boost in the workforce, okay? Or whatever it is, or whatever work that you're doing, all right? That's another linear way that programming has told us, hey, this is what you do. This is what you have to do to experience more money in your life, okay? Another way, another linear way, if we want to bring this back to religious programming says if you don't have enough money in your life, then you don't have enough faith and you need to give more money to offering and tithes or give more money to the church to show a God up in the sky somewhere that you have faith to get more money. So if you give more money to the church, you will have more money in your life. That is a linear programmed way. Okay. So these steps, any step that you can come up with will fit underneath that category. But those are just very few examples, right? So those steps, as you can see, they're very linear. All right. And when we talk about something being linear, that means that the step in our consciousness and how we are viewing the thing, in this case, money and how to get it, none of those steps, none of a linear way, no portion of a linear way leaves any flexibility for other ways to make themselves known to you to receive money. Why? Because of your linear consciousness. You become tunnel vision. You have a tunnel vision. You're told this is how I have been taught to receive money. Therefore, I can't take in anything else. I can't take in any more possibilities because those possibilities will disrupt my linear blind spot. Okay. So now if you notice, with the examples that we use in those linear ways, it involves doing more. All of those steps that we saw, that we went over, all of those examples, it involves doing more. And those linear ways don't give any consideration for whether or not you enjoy what you're doing to receive more money. We're going to get to that later. I can tell you that I've had experiences with all of those, okay? With all of those examples, and enjoyment was not a factor. I didn't even consider it because I didn't equate having money with joy. All right. So enjoyment wasn't a factor at all. And so I held the consciousness then that if I followed those steps, A, B, C, D, you go in that order, then those specific steps would lead to more money. Now, even when that linear thinking was not yielding results, I was doing all the things, doing the more. Do you not know that I still kept following those steps? Why? Because it was all I knew to accept and to do. So the question that I want to ask you is, I want you to ask yourself is, why is it so easy to allow the blind spot of receiving money to in a linear way to take root in your life? Why is it so easy for us to do that? Let's talk about it. Because, first of all, linear thinking, it causes you to hold on to one way of receiving money, even when you would prefer another way, because that linear way is comfortable. That linear way is safe, right? So also linear thinking gives you the story that receiving money only comes through ways that are challenging and difficult and perhaps even painful. Do you know that, and listen, before I say this, I am not knocking a job. I am not knocking you working for someone. But do you not know that to wake up every morning, to give 8 hours of your energy and your attention and your focus to something that you can't stand, do you know that that is a painful way to get money? That is a painful way to receive money. And you do not have to accept that. Oh, just think about that. Just hold on to that, okay? You don't have to accept it. So also, linear thinking gives you the story that increase in your money has to come in increments. So, for example, we're programmed to think that it takes a long time for you to have more money. Why? Because you have to work so hard for it. You have to wait for it. So what happens? You, for example, you accept a low-paying job just because it's a job. You accept this in business. And what can this look like? So if you look at the statistics, and I'm just going to throw out some numbers out there. They may not be completely accurate, but I'm painting this picture for you with an example. All right. So just flow with me. So if you look at statistics that are thrown at us all the time, whether we ask for them or not, unsolicited statistics that tell us, for example, that a percentage of people in a certain age range only make a certain amount of money. So what do? Then we set ourselves at that beginning and that ending. We don't realize that we have put that in our consciousness. We've allowed that to be in our consciousness, and we are now, our nervous system and our operating system lives by that, by a programmed statistic. And the reason why I say programmed is because those statistics show up all the time. They show up in universities, they show up in schools, they're all over the place. All right. The same thing happens if you are in business for yourself. Okay. You see stats that tell you, for on average, businesses don't make it past the third or fourth or fifth year. Or you see a statistic that'll say, a certain percentage of businesses only reach 1 million in revenue ever. So we see those statistics. And again, We set those statistics as a beginning for us and at the end, the ending for us. Why? Because that is linear thinking. So it is very easy when we're already in that consciousness. It's very easy for us to take a statistic and put it in our story, our limited linear story. All right. So what I want you to do, I want you to now, before I tell you, before I give you this exercise, you may have already done this exercise. Okay. However, well, let me give you the exercise first. I want you to look at the ways that money comes to you. All right, just look at the ways. And I want you to compare that way to how you would actually love for money to come to you. Not really like, but love money to come to you consistently and in lavish amounts. I want you to compare the way that you receive money now to the way that you would love to consistently receive money, consistently in lavish amounts daily, flowing to you. Whether you have to just imagine it, whether you record yourself talking out that answer, or if you write it, I highly recommend that you write it. Put pen to paper. There is magic in that. All right. So again, look at the ways that money comes to you right now, and then compare it to how you would love for money to flow to you. Okay. Now, here's what I was going to say first before I gave you that. You may have done this exercise before. However, you're probably looking at what you wrote. You probably never even looked at what you wrote again, as far as the way that you would love for money to come to you, because that programming blind spot, that linear blind spot, said, well, I don't see how this is going to happen. So this is not realistic. So I'm just going to forget about what I wrote. I'm just going to forget about all of that, and just deal with the way that I get money now. It's okay. I want you to do it again. Because if you made it this far in this video, or if you're listening through podcast, if you made it this far, then there's a part of you that this is resonating with. And that part of you is your sovereign quantum being that knows that it's time for you to experience money in a quantum way. Okay. There's that sovereign being in you that knows that you have not allowed yourself to receive money in the way that you were put here to receive money. Okay. So I want you to just look at that comparison. How would you love money to flow to you? Be as detailed as you want to be. This is your exercise. There's no rules to this. And as you write this, I want you to consider this next question. Do you believe that you can live your life where money flows to you doing what you love? Do you believe that? If yes, why do you believe it? If no, why don't you believe it? Take time and allow those answers to be. Just sit with those answers. This is not an exercise of self-judgment. This is an exercise of acknowledgement. That's it. Okay. Now, I want you to consider this next question. Have you started on some level? Doesn't have to be this big, grandiose thing, but have you started on some level doing the things that you enjoy? If not, let me give you an example. If you're a singer, have you allowed yourself to take voice lessons? Have you allowed yourself to go outside and walk and sing? Have you allowed yourself to be in your home, wherever you live, turn up your music loud and sing as loud as you want? as loud as you can. Have you started on some level doing things that you enjoy? If no, why? And I'm going to tell you, if you are saying no, you've probably told yourself that doing what you love, that somehow it's going to take a long time before money comes to you doing what you love. That is linear thinking. It is programmed. We have been programmed to live within that construct. Where there's no rule that says when you are focused on doing what you love, that for you to receive money, it's going to take a long time. Where do we get that from? And if we really ask that question, where does that come from? It comes from other people. It comes from other thoughts. It comes from what people have told us to expect, rather than us going into our sovereign beings to activate our genius within us and to be expressed in our life from that genius, not from programmed thoughts and programmed ways of being. So I'm giving you this exercise because this exercise is going to help you uncover that linear blind spot. It's going to help you uncover the timeline that you have placed money on. Here's what I mean by that. For example, it seems like a lifetime ago, when I had my apparel line, when I was doing dresses, I would tell myself, or I was designing and creating dresses, I constantly told myself and said, anytime I talked about my business, because this is what I had in my head, I constantly thought and said, and it was expressed through me, oh God, this is going to take a really long time for me to make money off this. Constantly, over and over again, when I was designing, when I was sketching, when I was illustrating, when I was painting my designs. Oh God, this is going to take a long time. And guess what? That was the energy that I was putting into the designs themselves, into my business. And not only did it take a long time, I did not see the results that I wanted. So that's a personal example. So let me say this again. You doing this exercise is going to help you uncover the timeline that you have placed money on. It's going to help you uncover the ways that you have equated money to the linear construct that is time. As a spiritual quantum being, we don't recognize time. Now, our physical body recognizes time because we're in this world. So we use time to travel, because we use time to make sure we're on time for our flights, make sure we don't miss our flights. We use time if there's some place that we want to go and we want to make sure that the store or the restaurant, wherever we're going, is open. Okay. So even though we use time in that way, your money does not have to follow those time rules. Your money does not have to follow those time rules. You get to decide to have your money follow and flow with your quantum energy. All right. That is what I wanted to leave you with in today's Money, Miracles, and Magic segment on Unleashed Alchemy. Don't forget, if you need one-on-one support in your sovereign being on this spiritual, I hate to use the word journey, but it's spiritual life that you have, that you are existing in. If you want more one-on-one support so that you can walk in your spiritual science, so that you can walk in your quantum being with complete confidence, so that you can be in this world and not of it. More one-on-one support is what I offer. Go to unleashedalchemy.com so that you can read the fullness of what I provide in our one-on-one sessions. Okay, it's actually a package. It's a 21st session package that you can sign up for. In addition to one-on-one support, I also offer courses, all right, that are also available on unleashedalchemy.com. Also, I have ebooks that are also transformative tools that you can add to your spiritual bag. All right. So again, unleashedalchemy.com. Schedule your call today so that we can talk about how I can support you. All right. Until next time, be rich, be wealthy, and be sovereign.